Hi, my name is GP, and I took a gap year when I was in college. I didn't take the normal gap year. I know a lot of people want to take one right after high school before they go to college. I actually took one before my senior year, after my junior year of college. I took a year off, and I actually just took a year off to snowboard. It was a lifelong dream of mine. It's something I'd always wanted to do, and so I did it. The hardest part about that process was telling my parents. So this video is actually about how to tell your parents you want to take a gap year. Really, only you know how your parents would react. There are a lot of parents out there who would be happy that their kids want to travel, their kids want to go see something new, their kids want to take some time off of school. And there's parents like my parents who are looking at me absolutely crazy, talking about how if I took a year off of school, I'd only get as far as junior college, or I would never be able to get a job, or I'd be letting my future kids down by taking a year by taking a year off. I know it sounds crazy, but I know there are also a lot of kids out there like you. So that's probably why you're watching this video. Because more than likely, if your parents are okay with you taking a gap year, you're not watching a video about how to convince your parents to let you take a gap year. But step one, depending on who you are, choose a place that's reasonable. I don't know if your parents are going to support you in this decision. Only you know that probably, and you might not even know it. They might have a different reaction than you expect. But what I would say is, if you think your parents are like crazy, protective, and overbearing, and you've never gone 2 days without seeing them before, maybe don't choose overseas. Maybe choose a domestic location. I know a lot of people want to take a gap year and they want to study overseas, but they've never left their state before. So I just suggest to kind of look around and maybe look at some other states, some other areas, some other cities that you can move to that are affordable for you, that you can still even be kind of within earshot, if you will, of your parents, if you still feel like you need that support. Step two really is to come to your parents with a plan. Don't come to your parents like, this is something I kind of want to do. And this is for a lot of you guys who have more overbearing and more protective parents like mine were. So I went to my parents. I said, I want to move to here in Colorado. I'm going to do it this much. This is how much it's going to cost for me to live. This is how long I'm going to be there. I didn't have a job yet, but I was like, I'll for sure get a job because it's not that hard to get a job at the end of the day when it comes to like fast food. Not fast food, but restaurant gigs, things like that. A lot of them are available. And this a lot of times goes into where you chose to live. Should you choose somewhere where it's impossible to get a job? Probably not. Should you choose somewhere where rent is impossible for you to pay? Probably not. So when you're deciding where you're going to go and you're developing this plan, think about these things. Think about how your parents are going to view your decision. And if you come to them with more of a plan and you come to them prepared, it's just a higher chance that they're going to be like, okay, maybe he has an idea of what he's doing. Maybe he has a good grasp of what it's going to take to live on his own. So kind of just think about these things and develop a plan so at least you can come to your parents not empty-handed. You can come to your parents with some expectations of what will happen. My third tip for you is decide for yourself whether their support is important to you or not. For me, my parents' support had nothing to do with my decision to go. I was telling them I was going, and if they decided to support me, great. If they decided to cut me off, great as well. Either way, I was going to go. So I would say before you even go to your parents, decide whether you need their support or whether you're going to go do it regardless or not, regardless of whether they care or not. Because if you're going to do it regardless of whether they care or not, then just come to them and plan or just tell them what you're going to do. But it kind of just depends on how you feel about it. I wasn't worried about my parents saying that we're not going to pay for anything like that. That is what I expected my parents to not pay for any of it, and they also did not pay for any of it. So, um, once again, guys, you have to know your parents, but at the same time, if you come to them with a plan, you come to them with a course of action, I feel like it's a higher chance that they'll say yes. But if you know for a fact they're going to say no, come to them with the plan either way and then accept the consequences. Number four, I really would say come to your parents with some type of conviction. If this is something that you're really passionate about, which I was, and honestly, luckily, I was doing it over the phone. Doing it in person would have been much more difficult. But I came to my parents telling them exactly what I was going to do, exactly why I wanted to do it, and being in a position to where I had prepared myself for whatever they were going to say, whatever naysay they wanted to say, whatever they were going to try to convince me to stay in school. I was prepared to stand strong in my own too and be like, I'm going to get this done. So come to your parents with really good conviction if you feel like they're going to knock you down. And once again, none of these steps are for anybody whose parents are going to support their decision. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people's parents like mine who will not, and that's really what this video is for. Last step for you guys really would to be start the plan. So when you've come up with this plan, for example, when my parents asked me where I was going to live, I already had an address. Like I already knew it. I had already started the plan. What area are you going to live in? I already knew what I was going to do. What are you going to do? I already knew what I was going to do. How are you going to apply for jobs? I already knew what I was going to do. I had these things answered already. All these objections that my parents had come with, I had already started the plan to where I was like, this is just something that's happening and I'm just letting you know. That's how I came to my parents. I was 21. I wasn't 18. So it wasn't a little bit of a different age range. But at the same time, guys, if this is something that you're passionate of doing, if you really want to take some time off of school to get your mind right, to get yourself right, these are the ways that I suggest you kind of encounter your parents. You kind of talk to your parents, and hopefully they understand. My parents now honestly respect me even more for the decision. And it's years ago now that I made that decision, but my parents respect me more for it now, like I said, and it helps me a lot day to day. It helped me that I did that. It helps me. It helps my perspective, honestly. I don't know how to describe it, but getting away from the classroom, getting out, taking care of yourself, learning how to take care of yourself, learning how to be an adult, there's nothing better and there's nothing more rewarding. So, guys, no matter what your parents say, enjoy your life.